A 28-year-old Democratic Socialist who ousted a powerful 10-term congressman on Tuesday is calling for the impeachment of President Donald Trump, endorsing tax increases to roll back his December cuts, and claiming immigration authorities are running black sites to house children at the border. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's upset Democratic primary win in New York City over Rep. Joe Crowley stunned politics watchers, and she promises to be a rhetorical bomb thrower in the House. Wednesday on CNN's New Day program, Ocasio-Cortez was asked if she would back a move from the left wing of the Democratic House Caucus to impeach Trump. "I would support impeachment. I think that, we have the grounds to do it," she said, telling Democrats to hold fast to the position that when people break the law, potentially break the law, that we have to hold everyone accountable and that no person is above that law. Scroll down for videos. She claimed Trump has racked up violations of the Emoluments Clause from day one, profiting from foreign payments to his family real estate business, giving Democrats ample room to roam. The young upstart also called for the abolition of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, saying the agency is running black sites near the U.S. Mexico border where it violates the human rights of children separated from their illegal immigrant parents. Black site is a term generally used to describe secret prisons the CIA operates overseas to interrogate suspected terrorists in places where the constitutional rights of people on U.S. soil don't apply. ICE's extrajudicial nature is baked into the structure of the agency, and that is why they're able to get away with with black sites at our border, with the separation of children, Ocasio-Cortez charged. "We are committing human rights abuses on this border and separating children from their families. And that, is part of the structure of the agency. We can replace it." She said she used the term black sites to describe jails and shelters for illegal immigrants because their secretive nature has allowed the Trump administration to keep members of Congress. "Human rights abuses are happening without any sort of transparency or accountability," she insisted. Her condemnation came a day after a Central American woman sued the Trump administration for the safe return of her 12-year-old daughter, telling Daily Mail.com that she let the girl go with border agents because she had seen officers physically abuse small children who resisted. "When they came to get my daughter at 3 a.m., she was sleeping. I told her to go with them," Perla Karlili Alemengor Miranda de Velasquez said through a Spanish translator. "I didn't want her to go, but I had seen officers grab little children who were 3 or 4 years old by their hair and throw them into cells when they tried to get back to their mothers. I didn't want them to hurt my daughter." Ocasio-Cortez could be a forceful check on Trump for millennials whose political apathy is often grounded in a sense of powerlessness in a system that favors much older voices, like Trump's. But his administration is a form of extremism, she jabbed on the CBS This Morning show, minutes after telling MSNBC's Morning Joe hosts that getting into Twitter fights with the president is not exactly, I think, where we're going to find progress as a nation. Ocasio-Cortez also blasted the 2017 Republican-backed tax cuts on MSNBC, channeling Bernie Sanders by saying $400 billion in givebacks to taxpayers could have actually forgiven every single federal student loan in America. She claimed the bulk of that went to beef up the coffers of the corporations and the very rich. Raising taxes to support new social programs is absolutely possible, the 28-year-old insisted. But what it takes is the political courage to do it. Morning Joe co-host Mika Brzezinski gushed over Ocasio-Cortez, praising her for having a clear, concise message. "It took her less than 30 seconds to say it, because she knows exactly what it is who she is, it's where she came from, and it's what she wants to do. Don't steal her message. Find your own, Democrats, and believe in it," Brzezinski said, looking down the barrel of a TV camera. "Because we've got nothing to hold on to at this point but our party and what our message is. Trump on Tuesday night boasted of a big night for Republicans as he relished in the Queen's Socialists' victory over Crowley, a big hater who he suggested might have held onto his seat if he had been willing to work with the White House. Wow! Big Trump hater Congressman Joe Crowley, who many expected was going to take Nancy Pelosi's place, just lost his primary election. In other words, he's out. That is a big one that nobody saw happening, Trump tweeted. Perhaps he should have been nicer and more respectful to his president, he added. The Democrats are in turmoil. Open borders and unchecked crime a certain way to lose elections. Republicans are for strong borders, no crime. A big night. Ocasio-Cortez, however, ran to Crowley's left in a primary that saw near record low turnout, dooming Crowley from the start without knowing it. Crowley, the number 4 House Democrat, and until Tuesday considered a possible candidate to replace Nancy Pelosi as minority leader, became the first Democratic incumbent to lose this primary season. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is the daughter of working-class immigrants who caught fire with her party's progressives. Ocasio-Cortez, who worked briefly years ago as an aide to Massachusetts Senator Ted Kennedy and is a Sanders supporter, has never held elected office. Crowley told his supporters, "It's not about me. It's about America. I want nothing but the best for Ms. Ocasio-Cortez. I want her to be victorious." He later played guitar with the band at his election night gathering and dedicated the first song, Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, to Ocasio-Cortez. Crowley's loss echoed across the political world, sending the unmistakable message that lingering divisions between the Democratic Party's pragmatic and more liberal wings may be widening heading into the high-stakes November midterm elections. It also exposed a generational divide among Democrats still debating their identity in the Trump era. All in all, Trump had reason to celebrate Tuesday night as all 3 of his endorsed candidates survived primary challenges that could have embarrassed him and the party. While Trump cheered Crowley's downfall, so did liberal leaders who backed Ocasio-Cortez. These results are also a shot across the bow at the Democratic establishment in Washington. A young, diverse, and boldly progressive resistance movement isn't waiting to be anointed by the powers that be, said Matt Blizek of Mobian. Ocasio-Cortez ran a low-budget campaign and was outspent by an 18-1 margin, but won the endorsement of some influential groups on the party's far left, including Mobian. Born in the Bronx, Ocasio-Cortez said she decided to challenge Crowley to push a more progressive stance on economic and other issues. She attended Boston University, where she earned degrees in economics and international relations, and also spent time working in the office of the late U.S. Senator Edward Kennedy. After graduating, she returned to the Bronx, where she became a community organizer. In the 2016 presidential campaign, she worked for Sanders. Among her issues is expanding the Medicare program to people of all ages and abolishing immigrations and customs enforcement. She recently went to Tornillo, Texas, to protest against policies that have separated parents from their children at the southern U.S. border.